Hey everyone, welcome back. This is John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com, and this week I want to talk to you about a question that I get from a lot of different people. I've gotten a lot of emails from developers or people who want to get into development asking about basically what programming language or what technology should I learn, what should I invest in? And it's a great question because especially if you're just starting out, maybe you just got out of college or you're thinking about a career change, or even if you're already into your career and you're thinking about getting a new job or really expanding your career options, you want to know where should you invest your time. You don't want to invest time in a dead-end technology. You don't want to waste time because it takes a lot of time to learn something, especially if you're already working some other job or you're doing something else and you're studying in the evenings. So you don't want to waste that time. So my basic answer for this question is that there are a lot of options. There's not necessarily one right path or great path, but I'm going to give you the best guidance that I can. So most people who ask this question to me are asking, should I learn C# or Java? So let's tackle that first. My answer to this is that it doesn't really matter so much at this point. Now, my preference is probably going to be C#, but there's so much going on in the Java space with Android that Java is really a good language to learn. There's a lot of Java code out there already. But here's the good thing about this, right? So it actually doesn't matter if you learn C# or Java. I write in both C# and Java, and I go back and forth between the two languages all day long. It doesn't matter so much because the languages are so similar, and they're going to become even more similar when Java 8 comes out. So the key thing, though, is that you learn one of those languages if that's the way that you want to go into a statically typed language like C# or Java, and it doesn't matter. So I would say the answer to that question is pick the one that you feel like you like the most. There's different cultures with both of those environments, so you kind of have to pick which one that you want. Focus on the one at a time, and you'll pick up the other easy, so it won't be wasted skill. So I really encourage a lot of developers to either learn C# or Java because it's so transferable, and it's transferable to a lot of other languages. Now, if I had to pick one language that I'm sure you would do well in by learning today, even though I dislike this language, I would say JavaScript. And a lot of people that read my blog are probably going to say, what? Why is John recommending JavaScript? Well, because to me, economically, that makes the most sense. It's going to make you the most valuable because JavaScript is everywhere. Now, I do think that JavaScript will eventually die out. I know a lot of people don't agree with me about that. That's fine. You don't have to agree about that, and I could be wrong. But JavaScript is going to be something that is at least valuable right now. A lot of the concepts and the way that you write JavaScript code is going to apply to other programming languages. In fact, what you'll find is that if you just focus on one major programming language, that most of what you learn is going to be applicable to other languages. I know probably about 10 different programming languages that I can switch between without much hassle, and I've picked them up one at a time, but as I went through and learned different programming languages, I found that it was easier and easier because it's the same basic concepts. So the key thing is to focus, not to split your attention at first, but to focus on one thing. Now, there is definitely a difference between functional languages and languages like C# or Java, where you're more object-oriented or procedural based. So there is going to be a difference when you talk about those type of languages, but you should know at least some type of object-oriented language and probably JavaScript. Now, as far as what technologies and where you should invest your time, I would suggest someone starting out to really make sure that they have some mobile development experience. And the reason why I say this is because mobile is just exploding right now, and I don't see that trend reversing. If you think about what's happening with all the tablets and the phones and how they're advancing, we're seeing less and less desktops. We're seeing more of these tablet, laptop, hybrid devices. We're seeing more powerful phones. And when you look at how far Android is expanding and even iOS, it just makes sense to have some experience in that area. So if I were to focus, I would say if you just wanted to figure out what's the smartest choice career-wise, what's going to help you out the most right now to make money and get a good job, it's going to be get some JavaScript experience, learn to do some web development, pair that up with a language like C# or Java or even Python. Python is really popular right now as well. and then get some kind of mobile experience. Now, a good route to nail kind of all of those together is to pick up Java and JavaScript, because then you could do Android development very easily. You could also do the same thing with C# if you use the Xamarin tools, which will let you develop iOS and Android applications with C#, and you'd have a web development stack, and you'd be able to combine your JavaScript to be able to do web development. So that's my basic advice on that. The most important thing, though, is that you do focus, try to figure out, don't worry about all the different technologies out there. Focus on a few different stacks. You want to be able to do a few things really well, build some real full apps. And mobile is just a great learning platform to be able to build something that you can show to someone that you can actually put in a store. So I always encourage people starting out today to get involved in mobile development, because you can build that app, you can get it out there. And if you have a mobile app out there, you can basically show that at a job interview and say, look, I built this app, and it proves that you can actually build something from start to finish. So it's just a great way to get experience and to show that you have the ability to actually write code and develop a full application. So that's my advice for this week. Hopefully you're enjoying this video series. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on programming and technology, you can check out my blog at simpleprogrammer.com. And I have a podcast about programming and fitness that I do with Iris Classon at getupandcode.com. This last episode, we talked about basic weight training. So if you're thinking about getting started with weight training, you want to check out that episode. We had some really good tips in there just to help you get started. And of course, you can subscribe to this video series by subscribing to my channel. And if you have any comments, any questions, leave me a comment. Let me know what's going on, if you're liking these videos, if you have some advice yourself, or if there's any videos that you'd like me to do, just let me know, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
I know you're feeling tired, but you gotta hang on. You